Thank you for joining us and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. Did you know this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest? Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're having a celebrity breakup with your significant other, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
You said you wouldn't mention that.
Oh, sorry. It made news. So everybody
knows about
it, and sorry, it's out.
Well, that means that, well, it doesn't mean that it's time to bring in the land monkey because he's out living the life that we all wish we could live. But tonight it's just the three of us, Chris of the Northwest, Wits End, and David Webb from Live the Adventure and Explore magazine. So thanks for joining us, David.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you about Explore magazine and what all's involved. But we've got a little something to do just before we get into that. So hold your horses, unless of course you're on the road driving, then stay in your lane.
Please.
But we
both
want to
hands on the wheel, both eyes open.
Oh, both eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what I've been missing.
It could be.
Hey, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of all of our patrons who help keep this podcast coming each and every week. Special thanks to the Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Hey, they have the latest special is the How to Puzzle Cache book and supplement. Now, we talked with Cully Long, the author, a few shows ago about the updates to this very useful book. So if you want to know more, head on over to the Land Sharks store, find out what they've got there. And if you want to know more about supporting the show, click on the Patreon link on the CachingInW.com website. And it's time for the glow.
That's right.
We all know what the glow is, but if this is the first time you're listening to Caching in the Northwest, welcome. We do what we call the geocaching log of the week. That's the glow each and every week. And whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email or maybe a field recording to feedback@cachinginw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC or use the voicemail tool on the website. I've given you all these different ways to contact us and to show us how you glow.
That's right. And this week's glow, let's see if I can remember how to do the little graphic thing there. It looks like that badge there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh. This week's glow is contributed by frequent listener in the chat and friend of the show, Tick Magnet, who writes, "Here's a glow for you. This note was logged on GC 88 Victor 6 Victor. We know that one as Mingo."
Didn't you find that one?
I did find that one just last summer, 2019.
Ooh.
Work road trip and pulled off to the only geocache I've found with its own off-ramp sign. It says Mingo there. Yeah.
How very nice.
Yeah, how about that? So this log reads, an inspirational speaker should address the crowd thusly. Perhaps it's fate that the 2nd of May we were fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from selective availability. We're fighting for our right to seek, to cache. And should we win the day, the 2nd of May will no longer be known as an ordinary day, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not seek into the night. We will not DNF without a fight. We're going to hunt on. We're going to thrive. Today we celebrate our Big Blue Switch Day. Apologies to Independence Day. He says Ronald Reagan is a national treasure. Thanks, guys. And thank you, Tick Magnet, for contributing the glow.
Oh, that I should have had some inspirational music behind you. Perhaps an American flag waving.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you could have hummed something, but no, just
I didn't
left me hanging out there reading all by myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
This is a glow for the Mingo Madness event coming up later.
Oh, thank you for that
year.
clarification. I didn't think the GC code quite fit Mingo because being the oldest cache, it has a much shorter GC code. Yeah. And I don't exactly remember this off the top of my head, but I have a strong suspicion it will pop into the chat before you know it.
It's amazing. We say something and people tell us what we
It just
really
happens.
say.
It's like magic, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. Hey, folks, if you want to join in the conversation, because if you join in, then it is a conversation. Otherwise, it's just kind of a monologue. We get up here and talk to you, and that's not what we want. If you're in the chat, use the hashtag explore to add something to this conversation. And of course, you can use hashtag FATAS. That's for the after show. If you want to talk about something, well, in the after show.
How convenient.
Yeah. But David, thank you. You sat there, you waded through all that silliness, and
that was good.
We're happy to have you. Now, you're from Explore Magazine and Live the Adventure podcast.
That's right, yes.
David, maybe not all of our guests are familiar with you like we are. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about yourself and some introductions.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm the editor of Explore Magazine in Canada. We're based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And Explore is it's the most widely read, widely circulated outdoor recreation publication in Canada. It was founded in 1981 by a guy named Peter Thompson out of Calgary. It moved from there about 20 years later to Toronto and then back to Vancouver about 10 years after that. So it's got a long history. I'm, a long line of editors ahead of me. And I took over as an editor in 2013, and I've been doing it ever since. And so it caters primarily to the Canadian audience of hiking, camping, canoeing, kayaking, general outdoors, but very much an active, we call it the middle of the mountain kind of people, right? Where they're not like the high, the aspirational mountaineer, and they're not necessarily the beginner, but they're the people that are out there doing it and want to delve a little deeper into not just the how-to and the tactical side, but like the lifestyle and the issues. And yeah, that's Explore Magazine in a nutshell. For anyone listening in south of the border of me, and that would be the U.S., not the other border. I say south of the border a lot. People I'm like, no, I'm north of you though, so you're south of me. I often just say we're like the Canadian Outside Magazine. In terms of our reach in our own country, even though we're more like a mix between outside and backpacker if you really want to get into it. But yeah, that's the magazine in a nutshell.
Nice.
And yeah. Last year we launched the podcast as well, and that's how I connected with Jay with Land Monkey, and eventually with you, because he dropped me a line and said, "Hey, I saw you doing a podcast. I want to talk about geocaching one time." And like many months later, I actually did connect with him, and that led me here. So the podcast is an expansion of the magazine. It's
okay.
We talk to some of our writers and some of our guests, some of our profile subjects, and really try to expand a little bit on some of the topics we talk about in the magazine, go a little bit in depth, and just enjoy a little audio journalism and a different platform to connect to people.
Because it's really hard to read the magazine while you're driving.
We don't recommend that. Yeah.
Kind of help with that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm, down south of you in the Seattle Tacoma area, and there's some times in traffic where I could pull out a magazine and read. And
yeah, I've been through the I-5 at rush hour. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and rush hour is a loose term, meaning anywhere from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. roughly. So.
Now, David, I've had the privilege to listen to a couple of your podcasts, and they are very well done.
Oh, thank you.
What episode are you most proud of, and how has the podcast as a whole been received?
It's been received really well. It was totally new territory for me. It was actually a contributor of mine, Frank Wolf. He's an expedition canoer, expedition mountaineer and skier. And he emailed me like 2 years ago and said, "Hey, have you ever considered doing a podcast?" And I thought, no. That was just, I just said, no.
That's the same thing I told Chris when he asked me about getting on this podcast.
Yeah, I was just being honest, right? I never considered it. And it just sat there sort of ruminating in the back of my mind for quite a while. And then I thought, maybe it's time. And I just kind of learned a bit about some podcasting software. I don't do it live like you. That's that's maybe eventually that's another level as far as I'm concerned. It's sort of nerve-wracking to even be on a live podcast for me, let alone be broadcasting it live. I sort of hide behind the curtains of the non-live podcast where I know that no matter what happens, I can just edit it out. But
That's how we started.
I was going to say, you have to tell you, we started that, and we have found that despite the maybe stress of being live, it's way easier to not do all that post-production.
Fair enough. Yeah, you do get bogged down in it, and then you become like, you're going through and you're finding a spot where you smacked your lips a little bit and cutting that out and like trimming the sound back. And I kind of get what you mean, actually.
Yeah.
No, it's done really well. It's been really well received so far. So we had such an advantage over a lot of people launching a podcast because we had the media outlet in which to promote it, which gave us like a big leg up on someone who just wanted to just start a podcast, right? So we could blast it out to our email list and our social and promote it in the magazine and immediately begin to get people to listen to it, which was nice that we had listeners. But to answer your other question about which episode am I most proud of, it's hard to say exactly. Like, I learned a lot talking to Jay Land Monkey the other day, the other month, I suppose it was now, about geocaching for sure. Because I went into that conversation purposefully at a very low level of knowledge on geocaching because I just wanted him to talk to me about it. So I had a lot of fun with that one. But it's hard to say really which one I'm most proud of. But I found I was on the podcasting hosting software the other day, and I was looking at stats for downloads, and I couldn't help but notice that episode 3 had one of the least amount of downloads, and it made me laugh because that's actually personally one of my favorites. It was where I talked to a guy named Kyle Kassoon Taylor, who's running an Aboriginal tourism operator in Inuvik, Northwest Territories, where he's spent a lot of time. He's a young guy, younger than me, and he's in his early 30s, and he spent a great deal of time in his life relearning traditional Inuit skills from the north, like anything from igloo building to tracking and things like that, and helping re-educate the community, and then bringing those people in as tourism operators working under him. So they're not only getting a chance to relearn some cultural aspects that have been lost, but then finding a way to actually use those to make a living and to provide tourists with like amazing, like out of this world experiences. Like we're talking like reindeer herding, like building an igloo in the middle of the tundra underneath the northern lights, like just these crazy beautiful experiences, and it had this really like wonderful full circle story that I was up there in Inuvik a couple years ago, and I talked to I met him firsthand. We went on a little tour together, and so I'd been waiting for a while to talk to him some more because I think he's a really engaging character, and so. I don't know why that one got the least downloads, but it wasn't much less, but it was.
I don't know. It sounds incredible to me.
Yeah.
And when you say full circle story, you mean full Arctic circle story. It sounds.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good one.
I think you just added a couple of items to my bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got to go build an igloo.
Yeah, Tundra North Tours is the name. It's honestly worth just like Googling and looking on his website and seeing some of his videos and Instagram content and stuff. I mean, even if you never go, just to see what he's up to is pretty fascinating.
Wow.
Well, the Instagram is really the only way I ever travel. So.
You travel by Instagram?
Yeah, it's in my budget. It's the only way in my budget I can go.
Traveling of the mind.
Yeah. Hey, before we get too far, as predicted, shortly after I made that statement, the chat popped up that Mingo is GC30. So
it's our research department feeding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I'm watching that.
We can put anything out there and it will be corrected within seconds.
You can ask almost the most obscure question in the world and the answer will come up.
Yes.
Just incredible. All right.
We got some feedback on the I-5 Rush Hour. Someone posted the Live the Adventure podcast link.
Yep.
It's almost a little distracting to see it pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very engaged crowd. We really appreciate them. So I personally now I have to go back and listen to episode 3 and hear all about that stuff because that sounds really cool. We talked about our amazing audience here, and almost everybody there that's listening to this is an outdoor enthusiast that would probably get a lot out of Explore magazine. And one of the areas that you cover in there is lesser known places in Canada. Do you actually get to go to all of these places and explore them for yourself or just write about them?
Definitely not all of them. I mean, I rely as the editor, I rely so heavily on contributors, and there are so many of my contributors that are like several notches above me in terms of their expedition capability and frankly willingness. Like Frank Wolf, who I spoke of earlier. I mean, you just have to Google him to see what he's been up to over the years. We're talking, month-long self-supported canoe expeditions across the barren grounds of the Northwest Territories and things like that. But I have definitely had a lot of opportunity to travel since I became editor in 2013. And so, yeah, I do get out there. Since being editor, I traveled around the country. Since we do focus mostly on Canada, we do a bit of international stuff, and that includes the US. But mostly we focus a lot on Canadian destinations. So I traveled around quite a bit throughout Canada and managed to tick every province and territory off by about, I think, 2016. About 3 years in, I'd been to every corner of the country. I mean, there's not every single spot in every single province, but I'd been to them all in all the territories too. So,
all right. Well, now you have to go back and geocache in all of those territories.
I know. Well, I learned so much talking to Land Monkey. I was just he was laughing at me because I'm like, how come I've never just stumbled across these? It's because he's like, because you're not looking. Like they're there. Believe me, they're everywhere. And so I've been messing around a little bit with the app and poking around. I haven't had a chance to really actually engage in it and go do a geocache, find a geocache, I should say. But yeah, he's definitely right. I mean, they're right in the middle of the city and stuff. It's kind of funny,
Everywhere from urban to the most remote locations. They're everywhere. And when you do get out there and find one you really enjoy, give us a call, 253-693-TFTC, and record it for us, and we'll play it here on the podcast.
I'll be the glow of the week.
Yeah, you could be the glow.
Wow, that's added motivation for
there
sure.
You go.
I mean, I was start to wonder now, looking up in the north in the Arctic, some of the places that have been up there. I mean, I wonder if there are any, how remote does it get? Like where have people put these, So I'll have to take a look just out of curiosity if there are any in some extremely remote places, beyond on the circle or something like that. Yeah. It'd be fun to find out.
With well over 3 million geocaches out there, they're everywhere. I mean, there's one on the space station, one at the bottom of the sea. So, if you can cover those extremes, you've got it.
So who's got the space station one? Just Hatfield, and that's about it?
No, actually, trying to think of his real name. He was a computer game mogul of the 80s. Came up with Britannia.
Leisure Suit Larry. No.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I remember that. I wasn't allowed to play that one as a kid.
I wasn't either.
But the Britannia series, Lord British.
Oh, there you go.
And he's got a little extra spending cash, a little bit more than I do, and was able to go up to the International Space Station. And then he had another one where it was in a submersible down in a trench in the bottom of the sea. Dropped one there that nobody's going to find because you need that submersible to go get it. But he laid claim to that one.
That's incredible. I just saw in the live comments someone said their friend got one in Antarctica. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be on my bucket list.
There you go.
Lord British has the ISS cache and the one at the bottom of the sea.
Now the ISS is actually just a travel bug. It's not a cache, but if you're there, go get it.
Oh yeah, there are no fixed coordinates for the International Space Station at the current time. At some point, I imagine it will be a fixed location, and that will be a sad day.
Yeah. Are there any other ones that move? Is that the only one that moves?
Well, yeah, probably. And like you say, it's not a real geocache, but we're going to claim it as such just because it's the International Space Station.
Well, and like we talked about with the chat there, GeoTraveler says, "What's the GC code for the ISS cache?" And just two comments later, it's GC1 Bravo Echo 91. So,
someone else found one in the Northwest Territories too.
Our chat is awesome. So
this is an active group. This is incredible.
Oh yes, and we can throw out any detail and it will pop up.
And this is another thing that I just got to say, you don't get when you do the post-production and release a recorded podcast. So
Yeah,
you're missing out.
Yeah.
I kind of am. I'm really interested in this.
So the rainbow hydrothermal vents is the one that's at the bottom of the sea. That's GC G822.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to get to that one anytime soon.
I can guarantee I'm not. Yeah. Maybe some armchair loggers on that one, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. You brought it up. Now, Whitson and I started in a basement office coming up on 10 years ago. I think this is year 9.
Something like that. It rounds to 10 anyway.
Yeah, it rounds to 10.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time editing and, and then, once we could do, it used to be live to hard drive. Now it's, just live to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not everything is perfect and polished, but I think the interaction and being a little more vulnerable relates to people, because it's just like you're in a coffee shop talking to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fun format for sure.
Yeah. So other than the print magazine, I understand Explore Magazine also has a subscription box service as well.
Yeah, that's been a really interesting part of the magazine and part of the brand, I should say. It dates back to about 2016. I think it was December 2016 when we launched it. It was in the face of print media these days, it was basically declining ad revenue. We were looking at this and trying to look at a model that wasn't going to be as dependent on external sources and like looking for ad revenue. It's something that we could generate revenue as our own product. And it was entirely the brainchild of our chief marketing officer, Ryan McKenzie. And he started talking about subscription boxes. And they're everywhere now. But in 2016, I didn't even know what he was talking about, to be quite honest. I was, I understood the concept when he said it, and then I kind of Googled it around. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. You sign up and you get a box, but there was nothing like it for the Canadian audience at the time. And certainly no magazine brand was doing this, where they were tying it to the magazine and tying it to their readers. And so we thought, okay, what if we just put together a curated collection of outdoor gear? And we did a subscription box where it's a surprise, so we were able to buy it on bulk. And I don't even really remember how we put the first one together, to be honest. I don't think we made any money on it whatsoever, but we put it together and we released it to 100 people. And just to be like, if 100 people buy it, we might have something, right? And then they did like so quickly. So we ended up doing about 180, and we're like, okay, we might have something here. And we released this idea. But the big differentiator that we were going to do is that, we thought if we put out these boxes of gear, I mean, there's so many places you can get outdoor gear, right? Up in Canada, we have Mountain Equipment Co-op, you have REI, same kind of thing there. Then Amazon, Alibaba. I mean, your local retailers, use gear swaps. I mean, you name it, you can get it from anywhere. So we're just like, so someone's going to get the box of gear and they're going to enjoy it. We hope, going to find a good value. But why do they stay? What makes them stay? And that was when we leveraged the magazine and our outdoor knowledge and to create this community where we would actually create lists of challenges that you had to complete with the gear once you got it, and then prizes to reward you once you have done them, and you post photos of you doing them in this private Facebook group. And so we're like, okay, that'll be a fun part, and that'll be kind of our differentiator. That we're just going to it'll be more like a motivational thing. We don't just just order the gear. You actually order the gear, and then you get the motivation. Then we reward you for it. And that ended up being the thing that created the community and created this huge desire for the box, because we found this community of people that a lot of them were parents whose kids had just gotten to school age, who wanted to return to that outdoor lifestyle they enjoyed before, but kind of had forgotten how, or sometimes some people who had just gotten out of long-term relationships and were trying to find themselves again, or people who were, had fitness goals or health goals that they needed help to achieve. And we had, and out of nowhere, we started finding this like really inspiring community that was like, it blew us away, that people they wanted the challenges and the gear together. Individually, there was nothing, but it was sort of this great magic formula that the next box was like 1,200 boxes were shipped, and then it started going up from there. And so it's been a really cool project because it started as a way, to be quite honest, like a retail wing that we were just kind of trying to make money. And it ended up becoming like this really inspiring community of people that were like super active, super engaging, and super happy to get out there and share their adventures. And it's sort of like what I'm seeing here with your podcast and the chat on the side, that we have this private Facebook forum associated with our gearbox that's very similar in that sense, that it's like it becomes its own living creature where people are helping others out. I mean, we'll get someone who'll be like, hey, I need to change my address. How do I do that? And another member will be like, oh, you contact customer service at this 1-800 number or something like that. And we're like, yeah, that's what you do. Thanks for doing our job for us, you know? And so that's been a huge part of it. Yeah, it's the Live the Adventure Club, and it is a subscription gearbox, but it has this other component, and it's just gotten better over the years, and where we have some great brand partners that come in, and then the whole, I curate it as a seasonally. It comes out 4 times a year, as does the print magazine, so they come out all together. And yeah, it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of work. I went from being a magazine editor to being like an inventory control manager and things like that. Like these things that I'm like, I don't know how to do this, or like dealing with factories and like order, ship times and budgeting. But yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what curveballs life is going to throw at you.
No, yeah.
I never knew I'd spend Thursday night with all these fantastic people, but here I am every week on Thursday. So,
and in the media landscape, it's changing so much all the time that like we do get a lot of curveballs thrown in terms of new outlets and anything from developing podcasts to different social media aspects to retail wings. So but this was completely different because it was the only thing we'd ever done that wasn't media specifically. It was retail. It was just So that was it's been fun. And I think people are pretty happy with it so far. So we're keeping doing it.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had an incredible response to those. That's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Can you throw out an example of I think you touched on it already, but can you throw out an example of the Adventure Club challenges and rewards?
Yeah, for sure. So with the gearbox, I like to tie a lot of the challenges into both the magazine content of that particular issue, because every box has a copy of the issue as well as the gear specifically. So, and we have different sets of challenges for what we call them standard and advanced, sort of like a more beginner and then more advanced. And it could be something like, say we had a fire steel in one of them. It might be like make a campfire, show us a video or pictures of you making a campfire with only natural materials. Or there could be something like we had a sleeping bag liner in one, and it was in the winter box a couple winters ago now, and we were challenging people to take their first winter camping trip and show us how that worked out. And then the beginner one, we're sort of like, you can stretch the limits of what you call camping. For the beginner one, it can be maybe like a rustic cabin or something like that.
Sure.
And for the advanced ones, we're like, no, you're going camping in the snow too. So
nice.
So we like to tie them together, and then we ask for competing in the challenges. It's usually like a photo or video or some sort of proof. I mean, it's a lot of it's on the honor system, because we really expect people to do it after they get the gear, not like post old photos of them having done it 2 months ago. But I mean, we're really not like, it's such a good group of people that like it has never come up that anyone's been like quote unquote cheating or anything like that, And then the prizes, they vary because we do online challenges as well through the forum. So we have like weekly challenges, and the prizes that might be like, oh gosh, I don't know. It could be things like hats and toques and things like that. And then monthly prizes, which are up around the more $100 value, like vessel survival cash or something like that. And then the quarterly ones are the grand prizes are, might be snowshoes or, gosh, what have we done? Tents, sleeping bags, standard stuff that the people we try to find things that people are going to want without trying to give people stuff they already have. So sometimes we've done like a 6-person tent, because a lot of people have like 3 or 4-person tents. So we're like, okay, we're gonna try and give you like a 6-person tent, because not a lot of people have that, and there's a lot of families on our group. So and yeah, we've even done annual prizes of like trips, and paddle boards and things like that. So it's always the prizes are always changing, but they're always definitely outdoorsy. They're tied to the activities that we promote and that our members do. Yeah.
Nice. And I've looked at 6-person tent diagrams, and really that's only if you stack 6 people like Lego blocks and no gear. So we all know a 6-person tent is really a good 3, maybe 4-person tent. But
a 6-person tent is like 2 adults and 2 kids.
Yeah.
A 4-person tent is 2 adults. A 2-person tent is 1 person. I don't know where they get these numbers from.
I don't know. I think there's 6 people, but I think they're counting them like kindergartner size or something. Because
I've seen like 8-person cabin tents, and you walk in there like, yeah, it's big, but I mean,
but 8 people, really?
8 people, like, come on.
They have to really be friendly. I'm just saying.
Sleep on your side.
Yeah.
You say stack them in like Legos. I say stack them in like cordwood.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow. I David, I think you hit on kind of the same thing that geocaching is, that thrill of the challenge with a little bit of reward with your adventure club. I think that is what draws a lot of people to, getting that little reward. It may not be much, but it's the fact that, hey, I went out and I did it.
Yeah, totally. And I was talking to Land Monkey about that on the podcast that we did, about this idea of, sometimes that motivation, like, and the sense of purpose, for getting out there. And even though, the reward, you find the rewards usually out there, just being out there, but it's like hiking to a destination rather than just, wandering around or something like that. It's just having this purpose. I think as human beings, we're almost hardwired to find that more desirable. And yeah, I totally agree that there's a lot of similarities between geocaching and the adventure challenges with the prizes, because it gives someone, they go out and they rather than going for a 5K hike, we might have something like, speed hiking where you're like trying to, I remember a little while ago I had one there was like speed up and slow down. It was like try to like hike a certain a distance faster twice in a row, and then the other one was like try to slow it down and like and extend the time out there and see what you discover. So it was just giving people more excuses to go out and kind of play outside. And then like geocaching, if you find a prize, a log or whatever, and then same thing with us. You might win a prize or you might not. Nobody really cares that much. And people are always super happy to get it, but I've never heard anyone actually be disappointed that they didn't win, because there's not so many prizes to go around. So, and
it's the experience that at least most of us crave. Yeah. So talking about person counts for tents, geocaching with Jason Times 2 says, look for the Maiden Lilliput label on the tent label and run the other way.
They all are.
Yeah.
And I just saw the movie Gulliver's Travels on the plane the other day.
Oh, there you go. How appropriate is that?
Oh, now we have another one from CRS 98 that says, this story is several years old, but the story of finding GC Delta Foxtrot Bravo is the oldest first to find ever. And it would be a great magazine story, as the cache is in Canada. And it's in Ontario near Fort Albany, but it's farther down the river. The cache was placed in 2001. In June 2001, and was found for the first time in 2013.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And June 2013. So it took 12 years for somebody to get out there to find it.
That's interesting. I wonder why. I mean, they're finding them on the space station quicker than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
And the log from Stormgren X had quite the adventure getting to ground zero and searching for the cache container. I was expecting to, at best, only find the remnants of the container. I was surprised to find the container intact and all the items in good condition. Great to see so many fellow geocachers discussing the trip on the forums and watching the spot tracking. So apparently this person had a spot messenger.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, there's and there's a lot of geocaching adventures that I'm sure would qualify for your magazine.
Mm-hmm.
We have green words that says you might want to consider doing a trackable race across Canada. So one aspect of geocaching is trackables, right? So an item that moves from cache to cache with a goal in mind. And there are
that's
websites
kind of
set up that you could release a dozen of these trackables and have them go to a certain location by a certain time and see which one gets there quickest. So I should have a travel bug in front of me, but I don't seem to.
that's interesting.
Yeah, they're kind of.
I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. I like that. Yeah, it's
No,
interesting. It's like a relay.
Exactly. And you're using geocachers to move them there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know I have some. You can have watches on travel bugs and caches, and I have some watches on some of the travel bugs that were the first ones I ever found back in the day. So that was been a lot of fun. Regarding that cache that I think this is the one you were talking about, Chris, that took 12 years to find. Apparently, it's only been found once.
Yes, that's what I saw from the thing. Yeah.
So
apparently, it's not an easy place to get to.
Evidently not.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure where Fort Albany is. I'm trying to think. But yeah, it must be somewhat remote.
Moore says it was a multi-day canoe trek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Must be up in the north. I mean, northern Ontario is I mean, it's ridiculous up there. Like you
with portages.
With portages, yeah.
So, wow. That
that cuts old flabby guys like me right out of the herd. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That's
no wonder it's only been found once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at where that is on the map to get an idea of where it is. That's interesting.
Yeah, like you were noticing, some of the geocaches are in urban areas right in your backyard, and some of them are multi-day canoe trips with portages. So they run the whole gamut. Yeah.
Looks like someone just posted the coordinates.
There you go.
Yeah. That was quick.
Telling you, we may convert you to live podcasts yet. Who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting. North 51. Yeah, that's skinny up into the north there. Yeah, that could be in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
I mean, Fort Albany it looked like several kilometers away, but it was the only city of any note nearby.
It doesn't take much to get into the wilderness in Ontario. I mean, North 51, like it's funny. Like that's not very far north for Canada at all. But there's something about the north of Ontario that once you get out of southern Ontario, it turns north like very quickly. I don't know how that doesn't. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does. I mean, places like Thunder Bay. I mean, they're right up against the U.S. border, but to the north of that is just endless wilderness. So yeah.
Let's see. Does that help at all?
You know what? I was wondering. It's okay. It's up near James Bay. I mean, yeah. Oh god, that. I mean, yeah. Like that is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're almost in polar bear country at that point in time.
So,
some people down south of the 49th parallel would think that all of Canada is polar bear country.
Exactly.
May as well be, right?
I don't know. There's Tim Hortons and polar bears. That's
about it. Yeah.
That's all you need to know, really.
and land monkey.
Yes. And
so, David, thank you so much for being the token Canadian on the podcast.
Happy to do it anytime.
You didn't know you were fulfilling that role, did you?
No, now I do. I had a feeling.
Yeah. We don't know much about Canada. We just know about Tim Hortons and poutine.
And poutine.
See, you keep listing things. You say you don't know anything about Canada, but poutine, Tim Hortons, polar bears. I mean,
and one important thing that we know about Canada is they're hosting GeoWoodstock in August of 2020. So, question came up in the chat: will you be at GeoWoodstock in Abbotsford in August of 2020?
Well, that is a conversation that I'm going to have with Land Monkey when he gets back from vacation. Actually, we talked about it. I'm going to find out more about what that would entail, but it's definitely of interest for sure. I think there could be a lot. We used to do more trade shows than we do now, and I kind of miss them because we just it just became we have a fairly small crew at Explore, and a lot of us work remotely, and doing a lot of the trade shows became not that viable. But I think we've lost something by not going to these conventions and setting up a booth and just meeting and greeting and just chatting to the people and I think it's such a valuable thing that we have recently strayed away from, that I'm going to start putting more effort into, and I think GeoWoodstock is probably a good fit.
Well, it'd be great to see you there. I'd love to meet you in person. And the chat says, GeoNavPro says, would like you there. And I have to just throw this out. I mean, we mentioned Tim Hortons and poutine, but there will be Nanaimo bars there. So
I was born in Nanaimo.
Canadian, so. I don't know well. We don't know well yet.
Yeah, there are 2,700 people that have posted that they will be there. So
they're delicious. Nanaimo bars are the best thing ever. I can't wait. It's worth going just for that.
See, there you go. But you've got the geocachers who I think are a great fit for your magazine, and that's the reason we wanted to have you on this evening. I need to go pick up a copy of this and start looking at it. This sounds amazing.
I'm gonna mail you copies. I'll get you email me your address after the show or whatever, and I'll get some copies out to you, because it is a little hard to find. I think it's at the SeaTac airport, but our distribution in the U.S. isn't that strong. So I'll mail you a couple copies.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
And there will be poutine also.
Okay.
Of course there will be. There always is.
Of course there is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We have to mention something, and there it is. So,
yes, and they're currently vacationing in the Caribbean.
I believe they are. Yes,
somewhere down there. Yeah,
somehow they found data at this moment.
Yeah, yeah. When Len Monkey gets back, we have to have some conversations about him and vacations too. So.
Yeah, I know he sprung that one on me at the last minute too. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be there." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll meet your friends then."
Namely, he either needs to stop taking vacations or start taking us along. I think those are really the only two options.
Yeah, I then we could do the podcast live, wherever we happen to be.
That's right.
Live on location down in.
But I noticed in the chat there is one GeoWoodstock organizer holding down the fort, and we thank the Geo Travelers for doing such a wonderful job there.
So thank you, Christy, for holding down the fort. We sure appreciate you. Now, David, if people want to find out more about Adventure Magazine, the Live the Adventure box, or maybe they want to stalk you personally, where can they go? Wait, maybe we shouldn't do that last one.
I can handle it. So explore-mag.com, or just Google Explore Magazine is probably the easiest thing. And that'll take you to our website. And, that's the information epicenter of that can lead you into anything from subscribing to the print magazine to finding out more about the Gearbox, to just seeing to the podcast, to just seeing the content we put online. And me personally on social, I believe it's always the same handle at David EB Webb. That's Webb with 2 B's. At that, for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook / that. I think I'm pretty sure every social media account I have is David EB WEBB. Yeah. So I'm pretty easy to find, and I like I'm on Twitter a lot. I'm on Instagram a little, but I'm out there for sure. Yeah.
Nice. And folks, we thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And we want to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor.
That's right. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. You can check them out online or even go in person and visit their store in Victoria, BC. Geo Travelers is holding down the fort there. You can pick up the latest special there on the How to Puzzle Cache Book and Supplement. They're open 6 days a week, including except for holidays, not including. Excuse me, I misspoke. 6 days a week, except holidays, and they ship online orders daily. We'd also like to thank our Denali level supporters. That would be Landsharks, JP Geo Designs, Limax, Team Squirrel, and WorldCaching.com. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. And let's just go out there and thank patrons like, well, you kick it off, Chris.
Well, I would thank Sprouter,
Yeah, Wet Coaster and Greenwords,
Dune Buddy,
MC3 Cats,
Subway Mark,
Dora Moore,
GSM times 2,
Team Noltex,
Kev MacD,
Kid Vegas 19,
Ackerdoc.
Tick Magnet, thanks for the glow,
Yeah. Highlands Guy,
M Nerve,
B Pendragon,
CRS 98,
Sege Hove,
Keats 94,
Antaeus,
Kennel Barb,
Alarobrick,
Billy Robson,
the Seebeck Tribe,
Kitty Quest,
Fairwood West,
Genice,
Trexer Zero,
Boomer 365,
Wino Seattle,
the Geo Travelers, that's right there at the Landshark store. Way to go.
T Sayer,
Broncos fan for life.
and the Camp Clan.
Oh, thank you to all of those patrons, and thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. Now, David, I know you just mentioned it, but we've had a few things, and maybe people just finally dug that pen out of their pocket, purse, backpack, or otherwise. One more time, where could people reach you?
So on social, I'm David E.B. Webb with 2 B's at the end of Webb. Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and Explore Magazine. The easiest way to do it is just Google Explore Magazine or explore-mag.com.
Great. And Chris and I and Lan Mucky are also on all the social medias, most of the time under a consistent handle, except for those few squatters that we have yet to kick out. Most places online, I'm Wits End. He's caching NW or occasionally caching in the Northwest. But, you can head over to cashingnw.com/hosts. You can read our bios. You can find contact information right there. And you can find loads of other interesting tidbits and trivia. And you can find us right here on Thursday night.
Every Thursday night. But most of all, we want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you driving in your car can be part of the show. You can call 253-693-TFTC, leave us a comment, ask us a question, or take us along on your next adventure any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and so many more. Give us a thumbs up or review. This show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2020 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
The After Show. Sounds like we're in a stadium.
Oh, the After Show.
How does that happen? Okay.
Yeah, the After Show where almost anything goes. Almost.
There are limits. There aren't many.
There are limits, and I'm looking at you. You know who you are.
Why are you looking at me? Oh, wait, I was guilty enough to admit that, wasn't I?
Yeah. That's the dad finger.
And you had the dad voice.
There was a reference earlier to dad jokes.
Yes.
And, I qualify.
Yeah.
Brylang, let's kick off for the after show comments. Says, don't forget the Palindrome souvenir. That's February 2nd, which is coming up. There's the superb owl that day, but I think I can manage to get out and find a geocache. So you can get that palindrome.
You might be wrong on those words.
What's that?
The superb owl. Your spacing might be wrong.
Well, maybe. Print it out and figure it out. You see.
Okay.
Yeah, the date is February 2nd of 2020. That's 0202-2020. If you write it out that way, that makes a palindrome. Kind of like, Mem Sahib Bart, Rabbi has memo.
Yeah, just like that.
Or race fast, safe car. Isn't that one? No. Something like that. So yeah, get out and check it out. Grab yourself a geocache this weekend, February 2nd. There's some game playing with a couple of teams that dress in red, and who gives a rip. But the team in red's going to win.
That's right.
I predict that right now.
You just spoiled it.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
Come back next Thursday night and let me know if I was right.
After the Super Bowl, then you can fill in the team that won. But it doesn't matter. You're yelling at a radio or a headset and we can't hear you.
All I know is that there's almost always chips and guacamole, and that makes me happy.
Oh, nice.
Most of the time I don't care who's playing, but there's funny commercials and good food and friends. The friends part is the best part.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah. What else we got?
Well, hold on. I have to look something up because I can't remember an acronym. And now I can't find it.
I don't know. Well, Highlands guy asks, is it 2020 0202 or 0202 2020? And I say, yes.
Okay. So Highlands guy says the Can We Pop was a nice surprise and so interesting. That information you shared was amazing. I urge others to get in the inside scoop. And you may ask, what is that?
What is that?
Now I lost my page.
So we'll never know.
We'll never
just
know.
have to live in the mystery of what is Can We Pop.
Okay, sorry. We worked really hard to come up with a acronym.
You really wanted to make an acronym, didn't you?
You made the acronym.
I threw it out as well. Never mind. Let's just go.
I thought it was good. It's C and A from Caching in the Northwest. It's the Caching in the Northwest extended patron only podcast, or Can We Pop?
So if you haven't listened to it, that means, well, we love you, but you're not a patron. Yeah. So
let's see. We've got a couple on the HAG event.
Yeah.
The HAG event is on Vancouver Island with lots of new caches coming out all in one day. You find it next month and prizes at the end.
Does it have anything to do with haggis?
Well, you can have all the haggis you'd like.
Because we're on Vancouver Island.
Oh,
all over Vancouver Island.
All over Vancouver Island. Ooh.
Let's see. Do we have
haggcaching.ca?
Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to find. There it is.
That's hide and go find. Haggcaching.cachemania.ca. Excuse me.
So
it was line wrapped, and so that confused me.
On February 1st, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just like 2 days away from when this podcast is being recorded.
I mean, it's all the way into next month, but yeah, it's less than 40.
Yeah, but next month is,
yeah.
Just a little over a day away.
So get out. That's the what is it? Hide and go cache bash. Hide and go find.
So it's a big event there on Vancouver Island.
Geo Travelers will be up there hagging with Kev MacD.
Ooh.
And I'll just gonna go out on a limb and bet that there's some discussion there about GeoWoodstock while they're together.
There is. And it's going to be so fabulous. They have to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to definitely connect with Land Monkey about GeoWoodstock. But for the time being, I've just heard a baby cry, and I'm going to have to leave you guys to do the after show without me.
Totally
understand.
But I've really enjoyed my time, and thanks a lot for having me again. And thanks
it was
everyone
so
for
great
being
to have
in
you.
The comments.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting you, and hopefully that'll be at Woodstock this August, GeoWoodstock, if not before.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, it was great to have him along.
That was a great interview. I mean, I got to find out more about this Explore magazine.
Yeah.
I want to know.
We'll get an issue mailed to us, so that'll be fun.
I want to know about these little known places in Canada.
Let's see.
CRS 98 says, just published today the WSGA 48 North Leap Day event in Friday Harbor.
I've been to Friday Harbor.
In the San Juans on your Leap Day. That's GC8 Juliet.
Hotel Romeo Papa.
Oh, thank you. Hotel Romeo Papa.
Yeah.
You're faster than I am on those.
Yeah. It's
Greenwords sent me a tweet, or copied me on a tweet this week, where there's a mug with all the I call them the NATO letters, but what's the official term?
Yeah, NATO works. Yeah, the phonetic alphabet stuff.
Alphabet, yeah. It was on a mug, and I thought that was pretty good until I have to keep turning it back and forth to get
Yeah, there are various versions out there, but the NATO one is a pretty good, universally accepted one. People come up with some cutesy ones now and then, but they're not always universally understood. So, what else is in the after show? GSM times 2 is doing a 13, count them, 13 Icon Day next Sunday from Yuma to La Jolla. That's a good stretch. I've driven that stretch. I used to live in Southern California, and I once drove from there to visit some friends who he was in the Marine Corps, and they were stationed at Yuma. So I drove from Southern California to Yuma, Arizona. Get this, you'll question my sanity. It was July 4th weekend. It was one of the hottest, driest. If you've ever used a charcoal grill or even a gas-fired grill, and you've opened that up after the lid's been shut, and you have that dry heat, that's Yuma. Yeah. But it's everywhere all the time. We basically spent the entire weekend either in their air-conditioned apartment or in the apartment complex swimming pool and didn't really go anyplace else.
Did you go from air-conditioned house to air-conditioned car to air-conditioned building?
As quickly as possible. Yeah. Yuma in July is not a pleasant place to be. But it's January, at least, well, Saturday it'll be February. So it's probably the best time of year to go to Yuma. So congrats on that 13 Icon Day. That sounds amazing. And enjoy it. And Yuma to La Jolla, that's a pretty hefty drive. So yeah, you'll have a full day of it. Enjoy.
And it's La Jolla, not La Jolla?
It is.
Yeah. I knew that.
As a Southern California native, I know that.
And everybody else calls it La Jolla.
However, I've lived in the Northwest far longer than I lived in Southern California. So I may be a Southern California native, but I'm a Northwesterner. I have the moss and the webbed feet. So
there's moss everywhere.
Yeah.
Highland guy says,
what's this? Look for the moss on the north side of the trees. It grows all around the tree.
We have no idea which way we're going. We're just going for the moss. Highlands guy says a leap day event in Victoria. Look before you leap.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's a GC8 Home Depot. Oh wait, I might be using the
high def or heavy duty.
The wrong international phonetic.
Or it's Hotel Delta. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even going to try to read that Dropbox link you just posted.
Oops, sorry. It moved up on me.
Because I could probably figure that out, but it's late and I'm tired.
Yeah. There he goes. He says there's a reason Yuma does their mega in February. Oh, yeah. In case you need another leap day event.
Yeah.
There's a leap day event in Langley for that.
Hotel Echo Whiskey 8.
Yeah. How did you know?
Who doesn't like whiskey?
Oh, yeah. It's for the Fraser Valley Cash Bash 3.
And if you don't like whiskey, well, just send it down to Tacoma.
Just email it to us.
Yeah. Or send it in the field recording, because Chris loves his field recordings.
I do. Come on.
Actually, don't do that. Send me the actual whiskey.
UDAC wants to know why some people have in the live chat have a wrench after their name.
Oh, that's the great mystery.
Yeah, because they're a mechanic.
Well, yeah.
Let's see, UDAC, you don't have a wrench? I have to. I can fix this.
Oh, for just $1 a day, you too can have a wrench after your name.
There you go.
I'll see that.
UDAC, we're going to call you the wrench because you just tighten us right up.
I'm going to let you read the comment from Geo Travelers.
It's Fraser, not Fraser. I know. I have a problem. Just leave that up there for a while.
Okay.
Sorry. I'll get it right one day. And then it won't matter anymore. Okay, take it down. Now I'm embarrassed.
Okay, CRS98 says, I ain't got no stinking wrench either.
You people and your wrenches.
Well, Team Noltec says you made me post something just to see if I had a wrench. And what did you find? You wrenchless soul, you. Yes.
Okay, so if you have the wrench, that
Yes.
means you can post links.
And Dora Moore says, with a blue wrench comes great responsibility. Are you sure you're up to that, you deck?
Right. You can also remove or hide a user. I don't know. Can you hide a user? I don't know what I'm a different person than those people. But,
Starcasher wants to know if it's a monkey wrench.
maybe not.
No, not quite that. Brarling says they're all monkey wrenches. We throw them at the monkey when he misbehaves.
Ooh,
Which,
if you can dodge a wrench, you can.
I was going to say, if that was true, none of you would have wrenches
Oh, yeah.
because he always misbehaves.
Wasn't Frasier a fictitious radio host in Seattle?
It could be. I have no idea. I never watched it.
What?
Never. He's a character on Cheers, was the last I heard. He went off and did something else that I never saw.
Not to mention maybe he was in the Fraser Valley.
Yeah, something like that.
See.
All right, enough monkey business. Brarling has spoken.
All righty. Hey, folks, thank you for joining us. Again, David, you're not here to hear it, but thank you so much for letting us know about Explore Magazine and Live the Adventure subscription box. That sounds pretty cool. Folks, until next week, get out and live an adventure in the Northwest.